Hello and welcome back to the Scale Modelling Cafe, and welcome to this week's update. Right, starting on then with the channel update. Part 2 of the F4 Phantom from Zokei Mura went up last week. I've had some really nice feedback on that. A lot of you seem to like the that cockpit video. There's loads of detail in there. From the kit, it's brilliant. I added some scratch building, primarily behind the pilot seat with all the wiring and everything. Painted up the seats from Quick Boost using the Quinta Studios straps. And talking to Quinta, also used their set on the side consoles and instrument panels and other various bits and pieces. And yeah, you seem to have liked that one. So thank you very much for all that feedback. Part 3, I need to edit it yet, is of the airframe. It's sat right here. There we go. All in primer, ready for paint. I've just put cocktail sticks in the missile bays actually, just to hold it off the deck. Now, canopy, I've just tacked into place with blue tack the one-piece canopy just to mask it off while I did the primer. What I'm probably going to do later on today is sort out the centre section and the windscreen, get those painted on the inside and detailed on the inside and then glued in place. I want to fair in the centre section so there's no gaps, just like the real thing. In hindsight, I wish I'd done that before I'd done the intakes. So on the next what I do, and I will do another Phantom, is that's precisely what I'll do, because it's just going to get easier in there for sanding. Hindsight, hey. And then what I'll do is I'll mask off the cockpit, I'll mask off the two opening bits, and I suppose you could call them the canopies. I've got the hypersonic detail set. I'll detail them all up. I'll paint the insides, and then I'll see whether they actually go down. And I can use them as a mask. Maybe not, because of all the detailing stuff. I'll have to see. That's the plan for the airframe. I'm straying into what's the update on the project, aren't I? So I'll stop there now. So part 3, as I said, on the building of the airframe is going to go up on Sunday night. It's going to be a really interesting video because it's going to detail how I deal with that separate spine insert, which is just so annoying. I don't know why manufacturers do it. Also, how I fare in the intakes. It's quite a complicated shape round there, and every Phantom kit struggles a bit, I think. Those that I've built. Anyway, suffice to say, I've not built the Tamiya kit, although I really want to do one. So, yeah, a really interesting video. Is it over-engineered? Yeah, I think it is, especially on the wings. You can drop all the slats and everything, and you very, very rarely see them dropped on the ground. Certainly not engines running. That's a bit of a pain. I just wish they'd done integral slats, but there we go. So look out for that on Sunday. I do need to, a big shout out to a chap called Tom Walk, who has given me super thanks. Really generous, totally out of the blue. I never, as you know, I don't beg for likes and subscribes and super thanks and all the other ones, buy me a coffee and Patreon and all that kind of stuff. I don't do that. This is just a hobby for me, and I'm not planning on taking over the world with YouTube. It's just another extension. So for someone to dig into their pocket and actually donate some money to the channel is a real surprise, and really, really appreciated. So thank you very much, Tom. That was really brightened up my day when I saw that. That's fantastic. What I will say is, if I do get any super thanks, that money will be pumped straight back into the channel. I am looking at maybe getting another camera. The camera I do all my filming on is fantastic for this sort of thing and for the still shots, but when I'm trying to film the modelling, it's a DSLR, it's a Canon, and the focus is really sensitive. So you might see on some of the videos that the focus is changing all the time, and it's really annoying. I may be going down a more sort of camcorder-y type route where that's not going to be so much of a problem. We shall have to see. I'm going home next week, so I'll nip into Curry's PC World and just have a look. Maybe. Anyway, that's that. So, yeah, that's the channel update. The project update, I've already mentioned the airframe, which is sat just down there. I've just put it down. What I've been doing this week is all the dangly bits. I tend to do this in a project. I tend to build the airframe, get it in primer, ready for paint, and then I'll do all the dangly bits, all the ordnance, the undercarriage, any of the bits and pieces, get all that done, because I find that's a real chore. Once I've built and painted and weathered the model, then all those dangly bits are a bit of a drag, actually, and can suck the joy out of a project for me. Therefore, I tend to do them right up just before I start painting, and then I've got the fun bit, and all I've got to do at the end is just stick all the bits on, which is hopefully very quick. So that's what I've been doing. So in this little box here, I've built up the drop tanks. They were glued together with super glue, and what I did was once I'd sanded everything down, which you can do immediately when you're using the super glue, is I stretched and sprue, and I've replaced all the panel lines with stretched sprue. So raised lines, rubbed it down a little bit, plenty of glue over the top to simulate all the weld seams, because these were welded rather than panels that were riveted, leaving panel lines. So I'm really pleased with how those turn out. They're in primer. The other thing I've done is I've used the phase hanger resin pylons. These are 3D printed. The detail is the detail in the kit ones. The kit ones are actually really, really nice. The advantage of these is the bottom bit is all hollow, and the detail underneath is fantastic. Now I'm going for, as you'll see in a moment, I'm going for what we call an OCA, offensive counter-air loadout. In other words, fighter escort. But I read somewhere that Phantoms couldn't carry TERs and MERs on the wing pylons with sidewinders. I need to do some more research on that. I'm sure there's photos of them doing that out there, but I did read that somewhere. But anyway, this is going to be an OCA loadout. You get in the set 2-piece pylons. So you get the pylon itself with a hollow underside, and then the sway brace mounting mechanism is a separate part, and it slides in. Needed to do a bit of fettling, a little bit of sanding, because it was an extremely tight fit. One thing with this stuff is it's very brittle. It's not like normal resin, so you've got to be careful. And I did sort of shatter one little bit on the side, which I then fixed, so no dramas. And then the missile rails, just there's two little lugs. I haven't got my glasses on, there's no one going to be able to see this. I've just gone there, but what I have done is I've drilled holes through these, so I'm going to pin everything all together. The other advantage of this, not least being the detail, and it's a shame to put the missiles on these missile rails actually, because the underside detail is phenomenal, is the holes are pre-drilled at the right caliber, so the right diameter, and in exactly the right place for the Zokei kit. So all you need to do is get some suitable rod or dowel at exactly the right width, stick it in here, and it'll just pop straight in. I don't know if Mike's watching this, but what I would have preferred, I think, Mike, is actually to print those little pins integrally, so it would just slot right in. But then I guess it wouldn't be compatible with other kits. So, but I think it's easier to maybe mould those in for the modeler and then if the modeler is going to use a different kit where the holes don't line up, just snip them off, sand it flush and re-drill. But that's just a minor little debrief point. I wouldn't even call it a criticism. So they're the pylons. That's all done. Talking of weapons, in this little box here, I have the weapons. So again, I nearly called it Sky Flash. It's not, it's a Sparrow. These are the Edouard Brassin ones. They are absolutely exquisite, dead straight. Gluing the front fins on is a bit of a pain, if I'm honest. So what I did is I drilled and pinned those for extra strength, because just the little moulded in nubbin, it's easy to accidentally break that off, and then it's a bit of a pain. So as you can see, I've not done the fourth fin at the front because you don't need it. It's hidden underneath, and I put all the parts in my sonic cleaner and then dropped a pair of fins down the side of the oven, and there's no way I'm going to get that out. So that's another reason why I've I've left that off. I've also done the sidewinders, the early 09s. Again, beautifully done. They've been drilled. In fact, if I get this one, there we go. They've been pinned, and that will just go through the hole in the pylon and then straight through. This one, it's going to be the other sidewinder is going to get pinned on the other side, so it's all one solid unit. Absolutely vital when I bring this model home. Little clear resin seeker heads, beautiful. I'm not going to put the magnetic caps on the front, remove before flight, because I think the remove before flight tags look a little bit too big. They're almost 32nd scale by the look of it. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go down that route. When the missile is powered down, you need those caps on because they've got magnets in and they hold the seeker central, like that, to avoid damage. If you take the caps off with no power on, then they clunk down and you can actually damage the actual rotating seeker head thing. So that's why there's always the noddy caps on the Sidewinder. There we are. Right, excuse me. I'll have a slurp of my coffee. I've got coffee today. This coffee is Jeremy Clarkson's Diddley Squat Farm coffee, and it's really very nice. Right, the other thing I've done, more dangly bits, is the undercarriage. So in this little pot here, I've painted and weathered the Reskit wheels. They are really nice. The nose wheel, not too much detailing added to that. I just there's just one sort of a couple of bits of wire on there, not too much. So I've done that, and the main wheel here. Now, main gear, sorry. Ooh. These have got a little bit more wiring on there from lead wire and a little bit of tubing. So some of the wires white, some of the wires black. So the white wires are actually glued in place. The black wires were just anchored, stuck out. They were primed, painted in Guns GX, whatever it is, white, GX1 or 2, I'm guessing. Then the black wires were actually brush painted, glued in place. Then the whole lot was varnished. It had a very gentle oil wash. Then it was all sealed in with more varnish. And then what I've done is I've used some of Ammo's chrome tape for the chrome oleos, which has worked an absolute treat, actually. In fact, it's started to lift on these little pylons, so I'm going to have to make sure they're glued down properly. I'll just attach them with a little bit of glue, I think. But yeah, that chrome tape is absolutely beautiful. Right, so that's the undercarriage done as well. The other bits and pieces is on the sprue, and I tend to paint lots of detail parts on the sprue if I can. So I've done the air brake bays, everything's painted and weathered, air brake bays, gear doors, some actuators, even some of the aerials and bits and pieces. They've all been painted and weathered on the sprue, so I've done all that. All I need to do now is paint, decal, weather and glue it all together. It's proving to be a lot of fun, and more fun than I was anticipating. I thought it might be a bit of a chore actually, putting the airframe together. Zokei Mura tends to be over-engineered, but actually I've really enjoyed it, and I'm really enjoying it so far. So that's the project update. What I'm going to do, I think, is, because I'm going home next week, is what I'll do is I'll edit together the video of all the dangly bits, and then I'll that'll be the week after's update. Then there'll be a pause, and the project will resume when I come back, and I've actually can start painting and weathering the thing. So that is going to be the plan for that. Right, on with the news then, and a little bit to talk about, a lot of aftermarket stuff and some new kits. So talking of one new kit first, 1/35th scale. Now I don't normally talk about armour modelling here because it's not really a focus of the channel, but Tamiya have announced a Leopard 2, I think it's an A6 variant, whatever that is, really don't know, but in Ukrainian marking. So rather than being a what if, it's a what will be, I think. And I think that's a really nice touch. It's a limited edition, and yeah, that's really quite cool. And actually, I'm quite tempted that myself, even though I don't do armour. But excuse me, I'll just get more comfortable. So yeah, that's really cool. So well done to me. I like that a lot. On with aftermarket then. Phase hanger, friends of the channel. Phase hanger. From young Mike Reeves. Mike Wash my mouth out. Mike Williams is that magazine contributor. Yeah, he's a cool guy as well. But Mike Reeves of Phase Hanger Resin has announced the belly strap for the Phantom. Now, these were on the E and Gs, and I think maybe the S as well. And 3D printed resin, and literally just snip it off, clean it up and whack it on. It's something that's lacking from the Meng and the Zokei Mura kits, so really quite cool. Now, some commentators have already been moaning that it's going to be too thick, and why do you do it in photo etch or vinyl and blah blah blah. Mike has said why on his Facebook page why he's done it like that, and it's quite simple, fellas. Bloody modelers, eh? It's quite simple. If you don't like the product, then don't buy it. Don't have a massive moan at the manufacturer. Just don't buy it. It's as simple as that. It's like, you know, some people aren't buying Edward kits now because they don't like the decals. They'd rather either get the cheaper Weekend or get the Overtrees because they don't like the new decals. It's fair enough. Vote with your wallet, frankly. But don't have a go at a bloke on his own page. Pathetic, frankly. And I think it looks highly detailed and it looks really, really nice. And if you want to sand it down, sand it down. Modelers. So that's extremely welcome to have that. That's great. Right, Ames have, they do all sorts of really interesting stuff actually. A lot of 32nd scale conversions for Junkers 88s and things like that. Really nice. Guy called John Murray from the UK owns that. He's just announced 48 scale conversion sets for the Tamiya Spitfire into the photographic reconnaissance one. So there's a Mark 9 that goes into the FR9 with the sort of deeper chin radiator. He also does decal sheets for them as well. But also, I need to read this, a PR4, a 1G, yeah, 4 and 1G, that's it, for the Mark 1. Yeah, it's in resin, and yeah, really, really cool. And some really cool schemes for that, and I'm quite tempted by that. So go look out for those. Right, Reskit have announced an A7 Corsair tail correction set. And what you get is you get the exhaust nozzle, but also the surround. And they're doing it in 70-second, 48 and 30-second scale. And it looks great. I'm really hoping that they're also going to do the chin and the canopy for the Trumpeter Hobby Boss kit, because both of them are flat. The canopy's flat and the chin intake is flat. What is it with Trumpeter and Hobby Boss and intakes? They did the same on the F100. Weird. So, yeah, they look really, really cool. Look out for that. Hypersonic, they do a load of F4 goodies, and I'm using the canopy set on this Zokei Mura kit. They've announced the, I don't really know how you pronounce it, Tissio. The camera that was on the leading edge of the left wing, the sort of camera that the Wizzo could zoom in and have a look at whatever the radar's looking at. That's missing from the Zokei Mura and the Meng F4E kits. So that's great. That opens up loads more marking possibilities, and it fits both really nicely, apparently. So look out for that if you want. Right, and the last one is a kit. Rumours of, so nothing official yet. Special Hobby are doing F84F. Imagine it's going to be in 70-second scale, which would be cool. Now I've made the sword RF84F. Typical short run, need a lot of work, but look great when finished. But to have a tooling of Special Hobby's quality of the F84F in 70-second, my favourite scale, is really very, very exciting. I'm wondering if whether, actually, hang on. Oh, lovely. I'm wondering if it's going to be riveted. I really hope it is. If they go down that route, that'd be awesome. Otherwise, I can see myself breaking out the rivet wheel. There we go. And that's it for kit and accessories. I do want a bit of gratuitous self-publication, and Air Modeler have published an article of mine. It's the Key 84 from Armour Hobby. Beautiful little kit. I've done a complete video build of that on the site, but I did take photographs of it as I went along, wrote it up as an article and submitted it to Air Modeler, and they published it, and Mark has done an absolutely brilliant job of the design. They are the masters of model magazines and design. Pretty much the only magazine I get now. The quality is just superb. The quality of the modelling is jaw-dropping. There's, you know, we're talking scratch-built 48 scale Sterlings, and they've showcased in the past, and just, you know, way beyond my capabilities. It's beautifully produced, and they're three brilliant, three brilliant chaps who work there. So shout out to Air Modeler, and a bit of a gratuitous plug. If you want to see it in print, go ahead and check that out. Right, that's it. I just finished my coffee and I'll sum up. Right, t-shirt, Tool, favourite band. I was listening to them all day yesterday whilst finishing off the Weapons and Undercarriage. Favourite band of all time. They're amazing. Saw them live last year. Blew my head off. Right, there we go. So 1 week left before I go home for 5 weeks. What I am doing is I'm videoing some sprue tours. I'm videoing some conversational pieces, and I'll be uploading those throughout my leave. I'm away for 5 weeks. If there's any interesting news that comes out, I may do just a bit of a sort of a vlog from home. We shall see. I'll try and get that done, which will be interesting as well. And I'll just try and keep up a little bit of the content whilst I'm away, but no modelling. It'd be quite a nice rest from the bench, I think. And then I'll be fully enthused coming back to finish off the Phantom. When I finished off the Phantom, there's a few other bits and pieces that I want to get done before I start on the next big project, which is the 48 scale Tomcat from Tamiya. There's some World War II stuff I want to get done. I have got some more clear prop stuff waiting at home. I'm going to bring those back. But I will be doing the H75N, and I will be doing the Tamiya 109 G6 in 72nd, because I want to get those done. A, because Clear Prop very kindly sent me some kits that never arrived, which is a real shame. Nothing to do with them or the situation in Ukraine. It's our postal service. Oh, excuse me. That's giving me wind. So I do want to get some more Clear Prop stuff out, and also the Tamiya 109 G6. I want to get that done before Edouard drop their 72nd 109 series, start releasing those, which I believe is going to be the F first. So that's all very exciting. So I just want to get that done, otherwise I can see that languishing on the shelf. Like my Tamiya Spitfire Mark 1 is languishing on the shelf, because I never got around to building it, and then all of a sudden Edouard dropped theirs, and it's just been sat on the shelf, forgotten about. I think I might have even sold it actually, I can't remember. But there we go. Right, there we go. I'm in danger of waffling on again at the very end. So that was this week. Quite a busy one this week. As I said, next week will be the final weekly video, and the build sequence of that is going up this Sunday, and then a bit of a pause on the projects, and we'll see what comes out. So, thank you very much. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.